All right, everybody. So we always seem to like getting a new Spider-Man, like a new Spider-Man. This was the first appearance of Miles Morales. This was in the Ultimate Fallout 4 here, and this book is a major key in a 9.8. They were going up closer to $2,000, but now they're kind of down to about the $900 range. These ones right here going for $400 to $500 right here for a 9.6. Spider-Man is like one of the biggest characters. You make a new Spider-Man, people are going to go crazy. So we apparently have a new Spider-Man in the Ultimate Spider-Man series, a new one from 2024. They're on issue 16 now. And, I don't know if you're not reading the books, you probably won't know what's going on, but all of a sudden people are starting to spec on a specific book, and they're spec'ing on the Ultimate Spider-Man 16, the Welsh variant. This one right here is this new Spider-Man, and I'm going to go through and explain how and where we got to this book right here. Okay, so let's start off with the Ultimate Spider-Man number 1. This is the first printing. This book will run you anywhere from 80 to like 100 and I'd say 80, about $100 to $150 shipped. There's a lot of people selling them for quite a bit. You could probably find some very fine copies for a little bit less, closer to that $80 range, but yeah. So in this book here, issue 1 is like the first appearance of this new Ultimate Spider-Man, and it's Earth 6160. Earth 6160. And, so you got the new Peter Parker. You got, right off in the first issue here, we have May Parker, which is his daughter, and Richard Parker, which is his son, his 15-year-old son. You got the Mary Jane, all that kind of stuff. So I'm not sure. Is this the first time we've had a book where Peter Parker and Mary Jane have kids? Probably not, but I think in this universe, this is like a staple. He's like a family man and all that kind of stuff. So let's get into what happens. So at the end of this book here, you get a cameo of Peter Parker in the new in his suit. It's all black suit. He gets like this little orb from Tony Stark, and it's a suit that the little orb becomes a suit that conforms to his body. It's Picotech. Picotech is like the technology or something like that. And it's a 2.0 version apparently, which is very sophisticated and crazy. Later on, we get into seeing all that kind of stuff, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But so in this book here, he gets the suit, and at the very last panel, you see like the silhouette, and he starts to become Spider-Man. So, but not your typical, not this Spider-Man here. He's in some kind of all black stealth kind of suit looking thing. Nothing special, just all black. All right, so then we go to issue number 2. Issue number 2 here. Let's get into some of these things here. So issue 2, this one is the first time you see non-cameo Spider-Man in here. There's really nothing else going on in this, but like I said, this is Earth 6160. Shocker makes an appearance. The typical bad guys, they start making their appearances and stuff. You got the Green Goblin, the Harry Osborn version, and so this one here is the first appearance of the first full, because the other one was like a silhouette cameo, and this is full. Nothing major, but this one's I think this book right here runs about $15 to $20 right there. Nothing crazy. So it's when you get to issue number 3. Issue number 3 here, this one here. All right, issue number 3. Let me see. So this has Bullseye, I think, and then Spider-Man's red and blue suit. But in this one here is when you can see, they decide on the red and blue suit in this issue, but the little orb that becomes a suit, it could do a lot of things. There's a lot more story probably to that little orb that Tony Stark gave Spider-Man, and in this one, he changes into what looks similar to an Iron Spidey suit, but not the metal one. I think there was a suit. I don't know the name of that one. There's this suit that looks blue. And then he's got that one with the hoodie and stuff like that. So the first issue, there's a lot of variant covers for the first issue. But one of the suits that he tries to show his daughter in here, because they're trying to, him and his daughter kind of come up with a red and blue suit. One of the suits is the black symbiote-like looking suit. It's a black looking symbiote suit. It has webs on the forearms, which stop, and then it has webs on the shoulders and chest here. And it has kind of jagged eyes, almost like Venom a little bit. So this is the first time you see that new suit. The new suit is, something that you got to look out for. So this is the first time you see that suit. But the little orb, kind of listens to Peter Parker, and it changes to what he wants it to be. Then you get into here, issue number 7. This is where Otto Octavius, he starts talking to them about these suits because, Green Goblin has a Picotech 1.0 suit for his Green Goblin suit, which has these fail safes and all this stuff. It has a control that Tony Stark could turn off the suit and stuff like that, which they're like, oh, we need to get rid of that. So Otto Octavius finds a way to deactivate that, but he's having a harder time with the Picotech 2.0, which is Spider-Man's suit. He finds a way, but then he starts to try to talk Peter Parker into giving him the Picotech suit so he can study it a little bit more, while he gives him like a Teflon. He tried to give him the Iron Spidey suit in here. The Iron Spidey suit does make an appearance, and he's like that's a little too crazy, too much. So he gets like a Teflon latex suit, and so that's what he switches to. But this suit in here offers, he said, hey, don't leave me with this crazy Otto Octavius guy. And he doesn't. So he keeps the suit. And so the suit lends itself as home security for his family. So the suit stays at the house and protects. It's like a home security now, because the suit can actually take physical form without being on a host. You know what I mean? So the suit can take physical form, and that comes up a little bit later too. Okay, so that was issue 7. Then we head over to issue number 9. The first time the suit actually talks. Okay, so they programmed the suits. There's I guess there's a program in there so the suit can actually help aid you. Kind of like Stark suits, where like it talks and hey, your power source is down or whatever. So the suit, but it's programmable. So Peter Parker goes, can I just make it have my kind of personality or something like that? So the suit talks back into him in his type of Peter Parker type personality. Green Goblin, on the other hand, he wants his suit to talk to him like his dad. So it gets programmed that way. But this is the first time you see when this suit starts talking to Peter Parker. It's in that black text with the white writing like Venom, okay? It's like that, but not with the jagged edges. It's just a nice clean bubble. So that's the first time the suit actually starts talking after Otto Octavius activated, the little personality helping out here. Okay, and then we skip all the way to issue number 12. So in issue 12, this is the Christmas issue. They're having like a Christmas party. Peter Parker, Ben, J. Jonah Jameson, everybody shows up to this party at the Parkers, even Mary Jane's sister. I forget her name. Mary Jane's sister is, if you guys know, put it in the comments, but I think on this Earth 6160, it's Gail Watson. So Gail Watson, we get Anna Watson, which is their mom, who shows up in this one. She's a kind of interesting character, so... and then Madeline Watson. So it's about all the Watsons show up, a bunch of Watsons. But at the end of this book, Mary Jane figures out that Peter Parker that's there was not Peter Parker. Basically, it was the AI suit that's watching over them. Peter Parker, earlier one of the issues got kidnapped by the Craven, and some crazy stuff was going on. 2 months, literally, he was gone 2 months. The AI suit was, watching over his family, but acting like it was Peter Parker. So this is the first time you get to see the suit get into a physical form, which is kind of interesting to see. I mean, it looked just like Peter Parker, and so that's kind of something that you'll see later on. That's issue 12 right there. And then issue 13. This is the one. This is the book that people aren't spec'ing on this one as hard as they are spec'ing on issue 16, the Welsh variant, which has, the new Spider-Man on the cover. That's his first cover appearance, but he's going to be on a couple more covers soon. So, but issue 13 here, I decided to grab a few copies of it. I grabbed three of these copies. And so I was wanting to try to grade some. I was wanting to try to get a 9.8. I think there's 10 of those on the census right now because nobody's spec'ing on it right now. There's 9.8s. When I went on eBay, the only ones I could find are some 9.6s. But here in issue 13, very beginning. So, end of issue 12, you see Peter Parker. It wasn't Peter Parker. It was the little orb that is the AI suit. That's what they're calling it. Peter Parker AI suit. And one of these issues, it says first appearance of the Peter Parker AI suit. But this one right here is the first appearance of Spider-Man Richard Parker. This is his first appearance. First appearance of Richard Parker was in issue 1. First appearance of him as Spider-Man donning the suit is in this book right here. He doesn't fight. It's so in the panel, I got just one of the panels up here. The suit, is teaching him how to use the suit, how to, just telling, to give him his little spiel about, how to do stuff with the suit. Not too much. There's not too much detail on that one, but so this is the first appearance of that, and I think this is the book right here. If you do not have this book, go to your local comic shops, pick this one up. Pick this one up here, because this right here could possibly be the next one of these right here. I have a funny feeling they have a lot of future plans for Richard Parker in that black suit Spider-Man, the new black suit, that AI suit. So do not miss out on this right now. You can still pick this up at your local comic shops, probably for cover price. They're probably just sitting on the shelves right now if they are. I grabbed a couple today. I grabbed one a week and a half ago. So I got my 3 just recently, but it could be the next one. I'm trying to get enough copies so I can get me a 9.8 one. One of these could make a 9.8 if I pressed it. I think, one of the corners looks like it could, if it pressed out, that would be probably a 9.8 candidate, but not all 3 of them. Basically, almost all 3 of them look like 9.6s. So, like I said, this is the first appearance of Richard Parker Spider-Man, and he's in that black costume that looks really cool with the little white webs on there, and it's got the semi-venom eyes and stuff like that. So very cool book right there. And then we go on to issue number 14. So in issue 14 here, this is the first time he actually gets into a fight. So he's got the new Black Cat. She's a 16-year-old, almost 17-year-old girl, and she had a vendetta after Peter Parker Spider-Man, beats her dad, and then so she goes out and she sees Spider-Man, but she realizes it's a 15-year-old kid, and they end up becoming friends. So that that's another storyline that's starting to begin in this one here. So that's issue 14. And then issue 15 is the first time he actually fights alongside his dad. And in this panel here, you can see the little orb can transform into like the shape of a spider. It could transform into a lot of different things. I think this little orb here has other intentions wherever it came from. I don't know if it's actually really an AI tech suit, or if this is some kind of symbiote thing that's going to become, an ultimate Venom all of a sudden, or maybe Parker's son here. They do allude to the Brocks. The Brocks have never showed up in here, but their name showed up in this series so far. So Eddie Brock must be around somewhere. But is Richard Parker going to become Venom? There's a lot of speculation that that's what is going to happen. That AI suit's going to just like take over him, and and it's going to be something crazy. But so in the other covers, so Ultimate Spider-Man number 18 is going to have Peter Parker and Richard Parker on the cover, and in the 2 different suits right there. And then one of the coolest covers coming out in Ultimate Incursion number 1, one of the variant covers here. This one here has Miles Morales, Peter Parker, and Richard Parker on the cover. Like I said, I think they're gonna have big plans for Richard Parker in that Ultimate Incursion series right there, coming out in June. That one right there, I think, is going to maybe shed some light, a little bit more light on this subject, but we don't know. But we got to stay tuned. You got to read these things. But I'm telling you, you got to pick up issue number 13. Nobody's spec'ing on it right now. It's not a very expensive book, and it's you got Green Goblin, Harry Osborn, you got Spider-Man, and you got Craven on the cover right here. go look for this book. There's a couple variants too. Variants usually don't hold the same kind of value, but like I said, if you will miss the boat if this character becomes as big. I wouldn't say it's gonna be hard to be as big as Miles Morales, but even close to anything like that, this book's gonna go crazy right here. It hasn't even gone crazy yet. Like I said, everyone's spec'ing on issue number 16 variant cover. Why? I don't know. But I mean, first cover appearances, tend to be, I guess, a key issue or so. But for me, it's the first appearance inside. So like Amazing Spider-Man 300, that got that back there, like one of my favorite books of all time. First appearance of Venom, and he did appear in 299 on the end panel. You can see like a silhouette and stuff like that. But in 300, his first full appearance, and so that's what this is right here. But this one here, there is no cameo before this. Issue 12, there was no suit on him yet. So issue 13 right here is the book you need to spec on, and go ahead and grab this right here. Like I said, it's probably going to go up in price, and it always sucks when you miss the boat on something. And like I said, I'm trying to get me a 9/8 issue, so I'm gonna probably buy a few more off eBay right now. There's some sellers. It's gonna cost you $4.99 plus $5 a ship, $4.99 plus $6, $7, whatever it's gonna cost you. If you can't find them at your local comic shop, and hopefully you get some near mint gradable copies, because like I said, there's only 10 on this 9/8 census right now, and I think there's a few or a couple in the 9/6 census right now. So, and they were for sale on eBay, and I don't want a 9/6. I basically got some 3/9/6s sitting right here. I want a 9/8 that I can grade. And even on the 9/6s that were graded, I did go look at the description, and it did not say first appearance of Richard Parker Spider-Man. But I think when you grade those later on, they're going to end up putting that on there, which, CGC needs to like kind of look, I guess, make sure that they get all that stuff right. But all right, man. So like I said, Amazing Ultimate Spider-Man issue 13 came out 2025. Definitely a book that I'm spec'ing on, that you guys just, like I said, if you're missed out, go find them now before they do go up in price. Like I said, I have 3 copies of the issue 16, the Welsh variant with Richard Parker on the cover. I got 3 of those coming. I ended up paying $60 for 3 of those, $20 a piece. I'm gonna see if any of those are gradable, because it would be nice. If not, then I'll just hold on to those for a little bit, or trade them. Trade for something else. But yeah, that's it, man. End of this video. Ultimate Spider-Man number 13, Richard Parker, the new Spider-Man. We always like to get ourselves a new Spider-Man, right? All right, cheers, everybody. You guys have a good night. See you on the next video. I'm out.